Dave Joel, telling it like it is. Little pregame music there. Waiting that John Facenda's voice to come in there. Little Sam Spence, that great NFL music. Here we are. If you count the Thursday night game, we're about 4 days out. If you wait till Sunday, like I do, then we're exactly 7 days out. That's the big one for me. When you kick off, everybody gets going pretty much, except for the Monday game or Monday games. AFC West preview. We go worst to first, and this is the fifth worst division or the fourth best division in my 20 voters' opinions there. The reason we chose this group is, well, obviously the Chiefs are at the top, but some shakiness here with the Raiders and maybe the Broncos. And I feel some strange coaching in this division too, which we'll get to in a minute. Here in New York, got the U.S. Open going on. Baseball teams not done, but certainly done. Not mathematically, I mean, but definitely done as far as making the playoffs. I think 8.5 and 8 respectively is not working at this point in the year with the wild card situation. The Yankees, by the way, going to bring in an outside firm for analytics, which again, so analytics has wrecked your team, but you're going to bring in an outside firm, which tells you what? If you have to bring in someone outside from the people you have who are supposed to be doing their job, it means they suck at their job. You see this in education a lot too. We bring in people to do the jobs of other people who failed. We see this in all walks of life. It's a part of society today where we just keep adding layers to our own importance. If the people who are in charge aren't getting it done, you don't bring in another group. You fire the people who are in charge, and then you bring in another group. That's called replacement. You just don't add another layer, which is what the Yankees are now doing. An outside group to look at a new group of analytics, launch angle, exit velo, all those great things that made it so you couldn't shift anymore because the hitters became so limited. But hey, that's what we do. NBA All-Stars, well, not total All-Stars, lost to Lithuania today. I mean, they advanced. But again, please don't tell me today's players are better than yesterday's players. Talk to anybody who's coached for over 20 years and ask them if their players, teams 20 years ago would kill today's teams in a game. Most of them would tell you, yes, they would. It would not even be close. But hey, people go, oh, that's just an old head talking. No, it's a person who actually knows the game talking. The hunger is just not there in these NBA guys. Again, you get pounded on the glass against Lithuania. Again, you might not say, well, we don't have our best players going. Well, they don't have all their best guys in there either if you look at their roster. So, and again, if we don't have all our best players in there, well, that's another point of why today's players aren't better. The money is so great to some of these guys who are average players at best. Where's the hunger? It's human nature. Can't fight human nature. If I'm going to pay you that much, where's the urgency? Again, defense, pathetic. Team shooting 56% from three against you. Maybe you want to get a hand up, change your defense. I don't know. Not sure. But you can't coach an NBA guy would be the response from those who don't know. Well, then maybe you should take them out. Maybe you should find guys you could coach. But hey, the people who've never seen great basketball before, who think basketball's been invented in the last 15 years, will tell you, well, today's players are better. Obviously not. The hunger isn't there. The desire isn't there. The knowledge of the game is definitely not there. And everybody goes, well, the game didn't matter. I want you to tell Mike, Magic, and Larry that the game didn't matter. See what they told you. If they're playing you in checkers, they're going to rip your head off, and that's the difference. They'll rip your head off. Tell Manu Ginobili that the game didn't matter. Go ahead. Tell him that. All right, see what that works. Go tell Bill Russell the game didn't matter. I mean, just disgraceful. But anyway, it's an NFL show. We don't want to laugh too hard at these modern-day NBA guys. Yeah, they could still win the tournament, but the point is they would have got blown out if we had some old guys who gave a crap about the game, and the game was approached the proper way where everything isn't whoever has the ball shoots it. But hey, like I said, AFC West preview. AFC West has a tough schedule in the two of the divisions they play. They play the AFC East, which I think is an amazing division, and they play the NFC North, which is my Viking division, which has got some interesting matchups against this division. I'm hoping for 2-2. I'm hoping to try to find a way. I don't think I'll, with our defense being so weak as a Viking fan. Chris Carter, by the way, all he does is catch touchdowns. With my weak defense, I don't think I'll be able to stop the Kansas City train. I'm hoping that maybe Staley could make a couple of bad decisions. We can hang in that game, maybe steal it. Raiders and Broncos, we definitely have a shot. But we'll start at the top. Chiefs have the 13th toughest schedule, and they've won 7 divisions in a row. going for 8 in a row, which is incredible. Their offensive line is one of the best, which people just don't talk about. They got the playmakers on defense at all three levels. You got Jones on the line, you got Bolton at the linebacker, and you got Snead in the secondary. So they do enough on defense, I think, to let the stud Mr. Mahomes run wild and do what he has to do. You have Kelsey, Tony, we'll have to see if he's healthy. Scantling is there, and you got McKinnon and my man Pock in the backfield there, which just so many weapons. And Andy Reid, very creative play caller, and there's a culture there. And obviously they're going for 8 in a row. It's a hell of a run there. It's funny because when my son is a Bronco fan, when the Broncos were really good with Peyton Manning, they beat the Chiefs like 7 or 8 in a row at one point. And, you see it's totally flipped now. I think they're 14-0 in their last 14 road games, the Chiefs in the division. So pretty crazy stuff. I don't see any reason the Chiefs wouldn't win the division, barring an injury, of course, to the main characters. After that, we'd have to see because playoffs are about those matchups. But I still think the Chiefs are the best team in this division. That's not really going out on a limb here. They were one of the teams picked at the highest on the over-unders, which was 12.5. I'd have to think that with the tough schedule that they have, they could go 12-5. They could go 13-4. Best case scenario, maybe a 14-3. Worst case scenario, maybe 11-6. We'll see. But they have so many weapons, and it's going to be difficult to take them out. Got a great home crowd advantage. Like I said, Andy Reid's been here before. He always has a winning record. He always does a solid job. It's a new topic this week we have to bring up. Coaches on the hot seat. Mr. Staley for the Chargers, I would say, would be the first guy to be on a hot seat. Mr. Staley is definitely on the hot seat. Made some horrendous decisions last year. The bad news is if they get off to a struggling start, I don't know how much benefit that really does to get rid of somebody, but he brought in some different coordinators and different things. But at the same time, it's on you as the head coach. So be careful of the guys you bring in when you're on the hot seat because they'll be replacing you. They got Joe, you got Mr. Bosa, you got Kendricks, you got Mack, you got Samuel on the defense, which there's enough there to do it. Got Williams and Allen on the wide receivers for the stud Herbert. You got Eckler, who's had 38 touchdowns in the last 2 years. That's the most in the NFL. Just an incredible talent. But again, I'm just nervous with a guy like this coach. They have the 8th hardest schedule, so they got the hardest schedule in the division. Miley just stepped in the booth. She is not doing well. She got a little indigestion problem, it sounds like here. She just stepped into the booth. But, so she is not doing well. We're going to... so Lily comes in the booth there, and we're talking about the Chargers, but she comes in and gets sick. Here and Telling Like It Is, we do it all here. We're keeping it real. We don't edit. That's why it is called Telling Like It Is. It's not phony like the rest of the crap in the world today. Little iced tea here today in the red cup. So exciting stuff here. But again, Chargers, Mr. Staley, definitely going to be in trouble if he doesn't get it done here with the Chargers. Enough talent there to win. Got a stud quarterback. I just don't like his decisions. I mean, again, I'm not a Charger fan, but I still don't think I trust them. Could they make the playoffs? They probably should make the playoffs with that talent, but we'll see. Got to see if Mack is still what he is and see if they can get something out of Kendricks, our old Viking there. We'll see what happens. Raiders, 16th hardest schedule. This is McDaniel. I think this could be his final and last chance. He kind of blew up on him with the Broncos, even though he got off to a great start. I thought the Broncos fired him a little quick. But with the Raiders here, I feel like he's running out of time here. Defense was 28th last year. Blew 5 10-point leads. You can't do that. A little bit of that's game management on him, too, because we know that Josh likes to be really creative in situations. Is Jimmy G going to be healthy enough? Is Jimmy G going to play more than 10 games? Is Jimmy G going to be able to manage the game for you? Absolutely. He could do that. He could help them a lot. You got Adams. You got Jacobs. But again, I just think that this is the worst team in the division. Now, I think that doesn't mean that they'll finish worse. I would bet on paper that they're the worst team in the division. Certainly talent-wise, I feel like they're missing some key players here. And like I said, Mr. McDaniel is definitely going to be in trouble with the fans out there. That could get ugly in a hurry in Vegas. And the Broncos will have the 14th toughest schedule. Peyton is the most creative coach, one of the most creative coaches we've ever seen. Him and Wilson together could probably do some good things. You got Simmons and Surtain, in that defensive backfield. So hoping that they can get something done out of that defense. There's still enough left there. You got Judy and Sutton. That's a hell of a wide receiving core there. Judy and Sutton could both be. I feel like there's lack of talent in some respects versus the other teams in the division. Like I said, though, Surtain and Simmons, you got to get something out of them. Judy and Sutton, you got to get something out of your running game. Like I said, if the Raiders, it's funny watching all these college games yesterday. You just don't see anybody who says, you know what, I'm bigger and stronger than you. I'm going to control the game from the line of scrimmage anymore. It's almost like I don't care what works. I'm going to push an agenda. It's an amazing thing in coaching today. You see it in every sport. Like we just talked about the Yankees bringing in people. No matter if it doesn't work or not. Today we have this innate ability and to push things that don't work in the face of factual data that says it doesn't work. We have people who still believe in things. It is an amazing thing that we live in this time. In 2023, it's been going on for 5 to 10 years now, where we push an agenda, even though in the face of it not working, it is really amazing. So you see it today a lot. And if the Broncos are going to not run the ball and try to control the clock a little bit here, or the Raiders don't do that with Jacobs, I mean, it's just foolish. You're not as good as the Chiefs when you play them. So if you want to go up and down the field with the Chiefs that way, you're not going to get it done. You want to go up and down the field with the Chargers that way, probably not going to work. You got to understand how to work and manage a game. So watching all these college games yesterday, some of these teams, there's a lot of mismatches in this one of these big opening weekends like this. On September 2nd was yesterday. Today's September 3rd. These bigger, stronger teams, you're just like, you know what? Give the ball to your line. Give the ball and actually don't give the ball to your line. Give the ball to your running back. Let your line plow a couple of guys over, a couple of pancakes, and you're good. Go right down the field. But no, some of these guys, it's amazing. First down, everything's got to be cute. It's like no value anymore in getting to 2nd and 6. Getting to 2nd and 6 is very successful. It's almost like, let me push my agenda and get to 2nd and 10, but I'll take a risk, a small risk, all right, or a big risk. I'll take a 30% chance to get to, 1st and 10, 30 yards down the field, instead of understanding that I have a physical advantage here and I'll get to 2nd and 6, which is a very successful first down. And it's amazing watching these games. So few teams are willing to do that and dominate physically anymore. Everything's about the quick game, the quick, bubble screens, the quick, screens behind the line of scrimmage and slants. It's just incredible. The game is totally different. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, every day, the same things don't work and you need to physically dominate. So you're watching some of these obviously big differences in games yesterday. Just physically dominate these other guys. You got them by 40 pounds on the offensive line. Use it. Shout out to Big Matt yesterday at Pittsburgh Panthers. They ran the ball up and down the field very well. And so that was good against Wofford. Watch Big Matt make those holes. Hopefully next year gets to make them in the NFL. Maybe he'll be on one of these teams we're talking about today. We'll see how it goes. So shout out to him, former Shark, football and basketball player. But again, Chiefs, I would say, best case scenario, win the division. Chargers probably be in 2nd. I think the Broncos will be in 3rd, although I always root for the Broncos, like I said, because my son is a Bronco fan. And the Raiders, I think, would come in 4th, which would thus leave Mr. McDaniel with a early exit as far as his coaching career there. And again, the AFC East, tough schedule, very tough schedule play at the AFC East. And I said, this is the hot seat of the division. Of all the divisions. There's 8 divisions. This is the hottest seat for the coaches. I feel like this is a division where 2 guys could definitely get off the tough starts and you'd hear the boo birds early. So, but as we say, you want to make sure that you're playing well in September. I know everybody says, well, these first 4 games don't count. They count just the same as every other game. Like I said, maybe you can't win the division that early, but you could sure lose it that early. You get out to an 0-3 start, and one of these other teams get to 3-0. You're in trouble. So that's for all we're going to have today on the AFC West. Getting it done here on Telling It Like It Is, NFL, AFC West. You guys have a great Labor Day tomorrow. Next up, see which division's next. We're going to have to wait and see. Take care.